A local woman says there seems to be a question of which activities are welcome and which ones are not welcome at a public library.
It's a question that some people have, but there's an interesting reason why it's coming up now. When this woman's 12-year-old daughter was asked to leave the library, a Washington County woman here, this mom was stunned to find out that catching up on schoolwork with the tutor wasn't allowed at the library. Dan Levy headed out to Fort Edward's library today to get the full story for us. Dan.
Steve and Rachel, good evening. The story I'm about to tell should be filed away in the nonfiction section. It involves an angry mother and her dispute with her local public library.
I have two tutors. They're great.
The dispute centers around this 12-year-old girl, Violet Seymour. The Fort Edward School District arranged for a tutor to help her keep up with her schoolwork, but when the tutor met her at the town library, things didn't go so well.
I felt unwelcomed because they just didn't care about us being there. They were just really rude and disrespectful.
Violet's mother, Barbie Seymour, says she was livid by the way her and her daughter and the tutor were treated, even more so when she found out her daughter wasn't alone.
They barked up the wrong tree. I'm not that mom. I've always advocated for my daughter, but when I realized that it wasn't just my daughter, that gave me all the more power to want to fight for all of our Fort Edward students.
At first, Barbie was told she'd have to reserve a time slot at the library for tutoring purposes. Then she was told the time slots were filled. When she showed up at the library for one of those time slots, she found the place to be empty.
Not a soul in here.
Are there any other venues that might be conducive for this type of activity that would be convenient for you?
Not in Fort Edward. Unfortunately, we're a really small town.
When she showed up at the library Board of Trustees meeting, she didn't get much satisfaction there, especially emotionally.
Can somebody tell me why she's been turned away?
I can't.
You haven't spoken. Aggravating, but I welcome the challenge.
A follow-up email from the board informed Barbie no one has been banned from the library. All are welcome. It also stated the library is pausing reserved use of its space for all outside groups, pending a review of our building use policies. What is your understanding of which activities should and should not be allowed at this library?
I think any activity that's meaningful and safe should be allowed here, especially if it's educational.
Like everyone else, Barbara believes proper protocol dictates there should be quietness in libraries. But when it comes to advocating for her daughter, that's something for which she will never remain quiet. In Fort Edward with coverage you can trust. Dan Levy, News Channel 13. Steve and Rachel, back to you.
All right, thank you for that, Dan. Now, Dan did reach out to the library officials in Fort Edward as well as the Fort Edward School District to try to get their side to this story. By airtime, he had not heard back from them either, so hopefully we'll have an update for them tomorrow.